It is Sunday, and you know what that means? Tell them, JFB, what's on the show today?
Well, we got jokes. We have all the news that's fit to print and talk about, and we are going to talk about the mortal sins of Ric Flair.
That's right. We got all the sins of Ric Flair on the All Effing Wrestling Show.
Woo! Hit it!
Coming to you live from the effing worldwide media studios located in parts unknown.
It's the All Effing Wrestling Show.
With your hosts, Canada Dry, and the JFB.
Tell me how it's priced. Tell me if the item is for sale. And tell me.
Good morning, afternoon, and for Liam Wakeland, evening from the UK, gentlemen. Good evening, Liam. This is the All Effin' Wrestling Show. Woo! Man, what a week. What a week we have had in the wrestling world today. We are, of course, joined by a multitude, the trios, but I am, of course, your co-host, the JFB, James from Boston.
And I am, of course, the patron saint of all of professional wrestling. I am that gingered up, bubbly son of a bitch. I'm Canada Dry Classic.
Yeah, Canada Dry Classic, way better than new and improved Canada Dry. That's for damn
it
sure.
just goes down smooth.
Oh, yeah. We are, of course, joined by our fellow co-host. He is, of course, well, you know what? I'm going to let him introduce himself. Go right ahead.
Well. Thank you very much for the introduction there, gentlemen. I am the effing expert, one half of the Magic of Wrestling podcast. I'm Mr. Eyesiks.
And there's rumors that sometimes he does sex calls at nighttime because of his smooth voice.
Oh, yeah.
There's rumors. I don't know if it's true or not.
Can you confirm those rumors or not?
It may be under an alias that I cannot reveal.
maybe not. So we're not quite got a quite straight answer out of it.
I love it. All right. Well, we got a show for you. Joseph Graham is in the house. Good afternoon, Joseph Graham. Welcome to the show. Let's go ahead and get started because we have an interesting main event. So let's clear out some of the housekeeping, if you will. And of course, that first one is the news.
From the four corners of the globe, from our studios to your home, this is FNN, the FN News Network, starring Canada Dry and the JFB.
All right. So for those who watched Rampage, we got the FTR. They came out and claimed that, we gotta do our stuff.
You saw the mug. And of course, we got the expert telling us a little bit later how to grow some stuff in your garden. So.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's springtime. It's time to grow some tomatoes and potatoes, yo.
But let's take a swig.
Yeah, let's take a quick swig.
Oh. So my coffee is topical because it pulled out right for today's show.
Okay.
So in the 1940s, there was a lot of children stealing going on.
Okay.
And and these children would be stole and sold as adopted kids to other parents.
Holy crap.
And one of those children was Ric Flair.
Oh, that's right. I remember that from his documentary.
Yeah, Ric Flair is a stolen child.
Wow.
So that says a lot about Ric Flair right
Yeah,
there.
it certainly does. We'll get into that quite often in our main event. So, for those who tuned in to Rampage, FTR has signed a 4-year contract, and they have said that after that 4 years, they are most likely going to retire. Canada Dry, you buying that?
Quick on that. That's like saying in 4 years we're giving up heroin.
Yeah.
It's like wrestling is a drug. You can't just say we're gonna quit in 4 years.
It's like heroin. Oh man, Mr. Eyesiks, what are your thoughts?
There's certain people that I think should stay in WWE, and there's certain people I think should stay in AEW, and vice versa. And I think that FTR is best suited for AEW.
Oh yeah,
and I'm glad to hear that they're staying there, because if they went back to WWE, they would have done comedy shtick and all that crap with the revival. But I think AEW is the place for them. I'm happy to hear they're going to be around for another few years.
And since there's going to be a new show, AEW Collision,
yeah,
2 hours on Saturday.
2 hours on Saturday.
Putting
Absolutely.
them on there with CM Punk would probably be a good idea.
Yeah,
and they've needed another show because their roster is so bloated. I'm tired of seeing like good, talented guys only show up like once every 8 weeks.
Yep, exactly.
So now they'll have AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays, Rampage on Fridays, and then Saturdays the equal to Dynamite AEW Collision, and it's going to be another A show.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
2 A shows and a C show.
Yeah, because
Rampage
needs to level it up there. Speaking of Punk, apparently, as we're getting closer to Collision, Punk and Jericho and others are going to be having a meeting, clearing the air before Punk eventually makes his return. Most likely will happen at Collision, since it's going to be in Chicago. Cody Rhodes is taking meetings with studios for a potential movie roles, including maybe Johnny Cage in the new Mortal Kombat.
Can we get that dyed hair out of there if he's going to be in Hollywood? Like, come on, at least get professional looking dye. Oh man, it's brutal, that hair.
Well, and the interesting thing is, The Miz has been campaigning to play Johnny Cage for like 5 freaking years. And so how awesome would that be if Cody Rhodes just swoops right in, takes the role, and Miz is just left behind? So
It's him playing Homelander in the maybe a movie of the boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Those who did not watch SmackDown, Shinsuke Nakamura has made his return. He was triumphant against Madcap Moss, who apparently is going to be going heel now.
Ooh, heel Madcap. That's going to be good.
Yeah. McIntyre blacks out his Twitter and removes all mention of WWE from his bio. Canada Dry, is this the impending doom that we're looking forward to?
Well, if they released him now, he could possibly be at All In.
Yeah.
If they release him now.
Yeah, if they release him now, he'll be there for All In for sure. Mr. Eyesiks, your thoughts?
I think this is a work. Yeah, I don't think this is legitimate. We've seen this in the past. We've seen guys black out their Twitter. That's kind of become a thing in recent years.
Yeah,
and it eventually just leads to probably him coming back as like a heel or something like that. I don't think for 1 second he's leaving WWE. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't either. Speaking of clearing the air, Thunder Rosa, she apologized to the AEW locker room. For those who've been watching All Access, both Britt Baker and Toni Storm have both come out and said that it's kind of bull that she shows up for appearances for AEW, but she's not able to wrestle. There
was an article we published with Britt Baker, and she's like, I wasn't really disrespecting her on any terms, except for the fact that she says she's still the AEW Women's Champion, but will not make appearances.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing all your other stuff, all your promo work, all your running your promotion and you can't show up to do a Rampage commentary.
Yeah, exactly, Mr. Eyesiks.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, she keeps herself busy. I mean, I saw that, I think just last night on her YouTube channel, she was like doing some kind of concert or something.
Yeah.
Like apparently she sings. I didn't even know this, but
Was this for like taco relief so she could have money sent to her for tacos?
We will
Taco
never,
relief
ever,
fund?
we're never going to let her live that down. for sure.
Never.
it's a possibility. It's a distinct possibility. I did not click on the link. I should have for research purposes, but yeah, I understand.
So many wrestlers are going without tacos on Taco Tuesday. Send in your pledge today, and we will get me and possibly some other wrestlers some tacos.
Listen, guys, this is like lunchtime, and you're talking about tacos to me, and that's killing me.
So news broke that Seth Rollins walked out on Raw. We are gratefully informed that he did not actually walk out on Raw. He's still part of WWE. There's no frustration on his end with creative. This was
You know what it was?
McMahon. It was a Vince McMahon call.
I heard he went out for tacos.
He probably went out. He can afford
Just went out for
tacos.
tacos. That's
Yeah,
all it is.
I mean, this guy's
Guys,
downside contract.
going out for tacos, guys. I'll be back later.
Do you think when he goes in for tacos that they go, oh, like they sing with him when he walks in for tacos?
And he starts dancing around and doing his little stupid shtick. Yeah.
Laughing.
Get me a chalupa.
Speaking of contracts, Kenny Omega still hasn't signed one. He was supposed to fight El Hijo de Vikingo for the AAA title, and because of his contract concerns right now, that match is not going to happen. Canada Dry, are we concerned that Kenny Omega might leave AEW for?
I'm not concerned at all. I believe that he doesn't want to be wrestling other promotions until that AEW contract is signed. He doesn't want, like, something goes down. He doesn't want an injury at somebody else when he's not signed to AEW.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Eyesiks.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the possibility we're going to have that shock jump like Cody, but I don't think that's going to happen with Kenny.
Yeah,
I think he's going to stay with AEW.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, he was like a guy who wasn't really pleased with his development time in WWE and had to prove himself all over the world to make this name for himself. So it would be kind of like going back against who he is to go back to WWE.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So talking about Uber drivers, someone took an Uber and showed up on Wednesday Night Dynamite. None other than Jeff Hardy. He's back. That's right. So Canada Dry, does he take Uber or you think he takes Lyft? Which one do you think he takes?
I think he's taking Uber.
Yeah. Jeremy, what do you think?
Probably Uber. And I just have to say, wouldn't it have been great if he'd been wearing the face paint and like he called an Uber with the full face paint and everything and like jumped into the back of this poor guy's vehicle?
If the Uber pulled up just as things are going up, they put, hold on, we got some backstage here.
Someone that has no idea who he is.
Oh man, I wish I was that Uber driver.
He didn't dance this time like he did last time when he showed up.
Yeah. I gotta go save my brother.
So last week in the news we talked about the death of one of the Bushwhackers. Unfortunately, we said Luke was the one that died. Unfortunately,
Oops.
that is not correct. Luke is still alive and kicking. It was Bushwhacker Butch that passed away. So Tony Khan and Chris Jericho actually, well, they are good guys. They each donated $5,000 to his GoFundMe page to pay for funeral costs for Bushwhacker Butch. So classy guys. Jericho and Tony Khan are just class acts. Last bit of news, Trish Stratus goes heel.
I love it.
I love it. It was awesome to see Trish. She lost the tag belts. She stepped in for Lita, who got hurt. Her and Becky Lynch defended their tag team belts, and they lost. And then Trish turns on Becky and Big Time Bex gets smushed. I mean, she got
I
crushed.
want to see. I want to see one more title run for Trish Stratus. One more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which one do you think she goes for?
I don't care. I just want one more.
Yeah. What do you think, Mr. Expert?
I think it had to be Raw at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, Raw's got the babyface champion, and she's been appearing on Raw.
Yeah.
I think she'd have to go up against Bianca.
Yeah.
Which would that would be sick.
It would be.
That would be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That would be freaking awesome. Just to see one more good title run. Kush is in the house. He says Kenny Omega is to AEW what Seth Rollins is to WWE. He's staying there for life. I could not agree
Kenny
more.
Omega, Seth Rollins. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a big difference. And Joseph Graham says he should have called Trent's mom. I mean, let's face it.
That would have been funny if Trent's mom
Dropped off Jeff Hardy.
Trent's in the front seat, Jeff's in the back, waves him goodbye, gives
The
him a kiss on the
minivan
cheek.
pulled up. That would be great.
Oh, Sue, we love you. One day we're gonna have Sue on the show so we could talk to her about her baby boy Trent. Trent. That's the only thing we could do. Just get Sue on the show and just talk about Trent. So that is the news. Now let's go into our joke of the week, and we have a brand new intro for joke of the week. Here we go for joke of the week.
Hey, this is Bret the Hitman Hart. Every day, people are mocked because they feel that dad jokes are the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. That's messed up. I believe that no one should have to fight for their humor. It's okay to dad joke.
Right here is
It's okay to dad joke.
it always is okay.
Joke.
And of
Here
course,
is-
the joke of the week is brought to you by backshaves.com.
Yes, it is. If you want your back shaved and you want to have a nice, smooth back for when you go out on a night on the town or you got a big meeting coming up,
Or if you have a big
backshaves.com.
date, like JFB did the other day.
Yeah, big date. So here it is, the joke of the week.
Hello, all flippin' wrestling community. This is Torino Ramirez, the last assassin, and I'm coming at you with the joke of the week. Doing a little yard work out here, and my son's inside. Figure we'll go hit him with a dad joke. Bub, what did one snowman say to the other snowman? Smells like carrots. You don't like it.
All right, Torino.
You know, when I found the Bret Hart thing,
Yeah,
I didn't know. I forgot that it was a dad joke he told, so it just worked out.
it was perfect. That was a great
Perfect.
joke.
Perfect.
If you got a joke of the week and you want to send it to Canada Dry, send it to the JFB, send it to Mr. Eyesiks. Do it however you want to do. Pigeon, you want to do smoke signals, we take them all. By God, we
Express.
take them all.
You know, I think we need a Jeremy joke of the week, a Mr. Eyesiks joke of the week.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we definitely need
I'm
this.
able
So
to-
next week, if we can get you with telling a joke. That would
Okay.
be
Let me see what I
Absolutely.
can find for you.
All right, here we go. We are at the main event of the evening. Holy Christopher Columbus. Let's get it to it. Hit it.
Gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Okay, we are at the main event. And of course, that means one thing and one thing only. We are talking about this right here. All of the sins of the nature boy, Ric Flair. And trust me, there are a ton. We could probably do 3 episodes of just nothing but.
So we did an episode like this previously on Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Now we got Ric Flair.
Yep.
Maybe Vinnie Mac next.
Oh, gotta be Vinnie Mac. I mean, that's the only one that makes sense. It's just Vinnie Mac right there.
That's gotta be the only other one that could fill a whole episode like this.
Yeah, that's a weeks long. That's weeks of episodes.
That's cutting out a lot of stuff.
we're gonna circumvent around
an entire
those small
season.
stuff.
Welcome back to the sins of Vince McMahon, episode 7, season 3.
Today we're discussing elementary school.
There you go. So
he,
Noob
burnt
says,
he burnt his first grade teacher alive.
so Noob says Trish Stratus as a heel will be something interesting. Yeah, and then Liam Wakeland obviously saying this will be first of a 7-parter for Vinnie Mac. Yeah, absolutely. And Nama Burns says Sue would have stole Jeff's pop. That's probably true because Sue gets a pop and a half.
Yeah.
So when we're on Vince McMahon episode 5, the real Katie Vick, we'll,
The real Katie Vick, will you please stand up? All right, so we kind of ruminate and trying to, there's a lot of stuff Ric Flair's done that's really good, and there's even more stuff of what he's done that's just not good at all. So Canada Dry, what is one that comes off the top of your head?
So we're just gonna rotate this. We're gonna do about 4 each and see what we come up with.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start very simple. Talked shit about Bret the Hitman Hart for years.
Yeah.
Now, Bret Hart started this, mind you, but not really at the same time, because Bret Hart, when he won the WWF World Championship, he felt Ric Flair just kind of phoned it in.
Yeah.
And didn't put him over very well. Just kind of went through. And after that, he did some house shows with Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And they weren't very good.
No.
But from Ric's part. And so it's kind of like, I think Bret Hart lost a lot of respect for Ric Flair after that. It was kind of like don't meet your heroes kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I guess after that, it was just kind of like, he's like, I don't see what the big deal about Ric Flair is, his routine matches. And then Ric Flair, he took it up a notch and was like saying that Bret Hart never drew a dime for WWE/WWF.
Okay.
And he just went out to try and bury Bret Hart in that sort of thing. And they eventually made up. And now they're on speaking terms again.
Yeah. I mean, you can't. I mean, you can't say that about Bret, because that is the most inane thing I think I've ever heard in my entire life, is trashing Bret Hart for someone who's a consummate professional. I mean, even now he's a professional when it comes to the wrestling world. He's. I mean,
well, yeah, and you had Nature Boy buddy with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, two of Bret Hart's enemies at the time.
Yeah.
So it was just like, yeah, let's talk. Let's all hang out and talk shit about Bret.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Expert, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I get where Bret's coming from. And if you listen to what he says about how Flair has the same kind of match, if you go back and look at his run in the 80s, it kind of was the same match.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, it was a very good match, mind you, but it kind of was the same. I mean, Bret's the genius when it comes to in-ring wrestling, period.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and that thing where he falls down and flies over the ropes and just so ridiculous.
Yeah. He's got to hit his spots every match.
Yeah. You got to hit those spots. Kush says Rick is one of the biggest trash talkers in and out of the ring, good and bad for real. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that guy can talk trash for sure. Mr. Expert, Mr. Eyesiks, what is your what's one that comes to your brain?
So Ric Flair has been married 4 times, possibly 5 if you consider Wendy Barlow.
Yeah.
So he's getting close to as many times he held the NWA championship. But, no, but seriously though, I don't know if Wendy Barlow's number 5 or not, because there's kind of some speculation. They supposedly had a ceremony, but whatever.
Yeah.
I was doing a little digging.
That
And I
doesn't, like,
saw,
if you have annulment, it still counts.
yeah,
It's the
I
time
mean,
you were married.
It's still, that's a tick mark right there.
Yeah.
he's breaking the championship / divorce record in pro wrestling.
the divorce champion of the world.
His last wife that was on record said in 2012 that she had been cheated on the entire time she was married to him.
This is an ex-wife, or this is the one he's married to now?
This is his ex. This was Jackie Beams.
Yeah.
I looked this up, and this is from 2012 when they got divorced. So this is not even young Ric Flair we're talking about here.
Oh yeah,
This is
we're
like
talking.
Ric Flair at 60.
Yeah, this is ancient alien Ric Flair.
I mean, if he couldn't like keep it to himself at 60, then what was he doing at 30?
Yeah,
You know, like it just it baffles my mind when people are married 4 or 5 times. It's like, dude, if you try twice and you fail, you might as well just give it up at that point.
Yeah.
If I get married once and it doesn't work out, I don't know if I can pull off a second one.
yeah, no,
Yeah, I mean, if one doesn't work out for me, I don't know if I'm ever gonna have another one. I mean, I may just call it quits at that point.
we'll call Ric Flair the spaghetti guy. He's just going to throw it on the wall and see if it sticks. I mean, that's
Wait,
essentially.
JP, did you have 2 wives?
I did, yeah.
So you could be like you could have a third here.
I'm going for Ric Flair's record. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to be the 16-time divorce champion.
Wow! Not only is he the Paranormal Eats champion, he will be the divorce champion of the world.
That's right, baby.
Woo!
Woo!
He's gonna start wooing on every episode of that.
Oh, after you do your Paranormal Eats this Friday, do a woo in it right after. You got it.
I can do that. I can do that.
Ric Flair
Oh,
woo.
is he taking on the crown of who is it? Michael Smith that has it currently?
No,
Yeah.
he's the new champion. He beat
I'm
him
the
on
new
Friday.
champion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I gotta catch up.
I tore that sucker apart. Banana pudding and sweet and sour sauce, baby.
You know,
Nice.
he had you with what he chose,
Yeah.
but he couldn't keep it in his mouth for very long.
Yeah.
If he would have kept it in there a couple more seconds, he would have kept the mouth.
Yeah. You spit take, you're out. That's the rules. Same with the hot dogs. Bad Take Kate says Flair overstays his welcome. I mean, yeah, there's no lie to that. I know one that comes to my mind, and so when you go and take out a loan at a bank, you have to have collateral. It's all about collateral. And
I like where this one's going.
Ric Flair, not once but twice, but the NWA World Heavyweight title as collateral for loans. So
One that looks like big gold.
no, both of them were the 10 pounds of gold.
Oh, okay,
Ooh.
okay. The
Oh,
10
yeah.
pounds of gold.
Okay. I was not
So
aware of this.
can you imagine you're at a bank in a suit. Here comes this guy in a glistening, glittery robe, and he says, listen, I need $25,000. Here's 10 pounds of gold. And like, how do you even you repossess it. How do you resell it? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's completely off. Like, only Ric Flair would ever dream to
And he
go
got away
ahead.
with it.
Yeah. Like, he's the only guy I know who would ever use the championship belt as collateral for a personal loan. Canada Dry.
Honey sold her Hall of Fame rings.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about collateral on using the 10 pounds of gold?
Well, you can't even sign it because it's like can't have the signature on it, right? So,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's just
so like, okay, if I can't pay this back, I'll come back and sign it for you and mark a number on it.
yeah, exactly. I'll come back. I'll autograph it. You can sell it for millions of dollars. Mr. Expert, your thoughts?
Shows a lot of respect for the championship, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, come on, like it's so much money in his career, and for him to have to resort to that is just silly.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, he was the number 2 champion of the world at this time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right behind Hogan. Like there's that debate: who's better, Hogan or Flair? Hogan or Flair?
Yeah.
Flair's better at this, blah blah blah. Hogan's better at this.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you Hogan never, ever treated the belt like that.
No, not at all. Kush says he doesn't know when to quit with wrestling and women. That is probably the most true statement I've
And
ever
probably
heard.
the bottle.
Okay, he came out of retirement because he needed more money to pay off his divorces.
This is true. I saw that he owed something like $32,000 a month or something. to
Oh
one of
yeah,
his
it's
ex-wives.
ridiculous. And if you want the bad take of the day, this is it. Flair is better than Hogan. Oh man,
Bad take, Kate, our resident bad take expert.
that is the baddest take I've heard. All right, Mr. Expert, what's another one that comes to the top of your mind?
So I was doing a little digging again into the indiscretions of Mr. Richard Flair, aka Ric Flair.
Yep.
And apparently, according to this article I read on the Sportster.com, Flair did not pay any taxes in the 80s.
None
Like,
at
period.
all.
Which is the reason why a few years ago he was served a notice to pay $280,000 in back taxes to the IRS, which is part of the reason why he's struggling financially today, according to this article. It's like, yeah, you can't skip out on Uncle Sam. You know,
Oh no.
I know back in those days you thought you could sweep things under the rug a little easier, but that's going to come back on you.
Nope. Trust me, for somebody who's been audited a couple of times, the IRS will find your ass. And if you owe money, any amount of money, they will find you and they will get it. You cannot get blood from a stone, but the IRS will get money from your broke ass in a heartbeat.
And that is the reason why we have Ric Flair drip cannabis today.
Yes, we do.
Now, this reminds me of when they foreclosed on MC Hammer's mansion.
Oh yes, yes. Well, he was
The
paying
Hammer
his
Pants
entourage like
was
$100 grand a
was like-
month.
MC
like-
Hammer.
But like Ric Flair, like he made a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of money. Like probably the second most in wrestling ever.
Yeah. I mean, as much as he made, he spent more than what he made. I mean,
You know, he's not saying jet flying, wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing, limousine riding.
Yeah.
Like he did all that. That
Yeah.
wasn't kayfabe. That was legit.
alligator shoes, Rolex watches. I mean, he had it freaking all. So,
Yep.
One that comes to my mind is, Ric Flair is not the safest wrestler in the world. We all know that. Dusty Rhodes has faced him multiple times and has ended up with a broken ankle and a broken arm, all because of Ric Flair. We talk about Brett and we talk about how safe Brett is. I guarantee you there are a multitude of wrestlers who were hurt by Ric Flair because Flair thought he was just better than everybody else. So, Canada, your thoughts on Dusty's broken appendages?
Well, let me tell you something, if you will. The American Dream. Had no reason to break my arms or my legs. I was just trying to put them over. See, and Dusty Rhodes, like, come on, this is a national treasure.
Yeah,
but I don't think Rick saw. I think Rick saw him as someone who was coming for his spot.
Yeah,
because Dusty was almost as popular as Rick.
I think he was a little bit more popular than Ric Flair.
So yeah, like he was worried about his spot, and I think this was probably done on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. 250 pounds of blue-eyed soul. I can't even walk. Or hail a cab. Damn it, that's hard times, baby. That's hard times.
Bret Hart also said that he didn't like that for someone like Bret Hart was a very safe worker.
Yeah, and
he didn't like the real chops.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Flair was doing, because it's like, why are you trying to hurt somebody? This is supposed to be a show. Everyone's supposed to go home and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Eyesiks, your thoughts?
I think Flair came from a different background wrestling wise than Brett. Of course, he spent a lot of time in Japan, and he's a hard hitter. You know, and sometimes when you hit too hard, you're going to accidentally really hurt somebody.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to kind of like find a balance between technique and making it look real, you know, and that's what guys like Bret Hart do so well.
Yeah, Absolutely. So Kay says that's usually Hogan who thinks he's better than everybody else. That's very true.
Stu didn't get a
Now,
tan,
Kate, are you
brother.
offended? Are you offended that we're dissing Ric Flair today?
I think he is. He also says good Dusty impersonation. Alex
Thank
Haney
you.
said that we sound more like Slick than Dusty. You can go to hell, Haney. You can go to hell, you son of a bitch.
Woo! That's all I can do for Rick. That's all I can do.
Canada Dry. What is another one that comes off the top of your brain?
All right. So, who's a Halle Berry fan?
Oh, I am. Swordfish? Good Lord.
I
Monsters Ball.
absolutely love.
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
Monsters Ball.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all I'm
I
gonna say.
love Halle Berry.
Yeah.
And when I heard Ric Flair claim to have slept with her, I was floored. He claimed that Halle Berry rode Space Mountain.
Yeah. I ain't
And
buying
Halle
it.
Berry had no idea who Ric Flair was. Now he claimed that this was right after she ended her marriage with Dave Justice
Yeah.
and the Braves.
Yeah.
But even then, she was interested in black men.
Yeah.
She wasn't into old white dudes.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially
And if it
guys who are
wasn't
like,
it would be like your George Clooney types.
yeah. Especially somebody in like the late 50s, early 60s. And she's like, yeah, that's the most fugazi thing I've ever heard. I mean, oh, good Lord. I can't even expound upon
Well,
this.
the TMZ, they got right in his face one time coming from the airport.
Yeah.
And he was embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like they're asking him, so what is about these reports? He's like, oh, she's a nice lady. Wouldn't respond. He just kept walking. Like he's like, oh, shit. Caught in my lie.
What a mook. What a mook. Kush says, Halle Berry, like the song goes. Yeah.
Who sings that?
I'm not sure. I've heard it, but I can't remember. Kush, Kush, tell us who sang that song.
Yeah, who was that? I don't remember that.
Yeah. Expert, what are your thoughts?
You know, this is probably a case where like Flair was at a bar in Charlotte and or Tampa or wherever, and he was so intoxicated that he just thought any random mixed race girl at the bar was Halle Berry. He was like, I got Halle Berry. Woo! That's probably about all there is to this
He
story.
probably said, you look like Halle Berry.
You look like Halle Berry. Woo!
And she's like, oh, I do. And took it as a compliment. And then he switched it to she is Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't remember the next day because he was too intoxicated. So he's like, I think that really was Halle Berry.
Yeah. Maybe
I'm not sure, but I'm going to tell people it's Halle Berry.
I'm going to justify by just saying, yeah, it was Halle Berry. Like, you look so much like her. And then the next morning, oh my God, you're not her. I'm sorry. My name is Rhonda. Not Halle
My
Berry.
name is Rhonda. I live in the projects.
I did not make Catwoman, for God's sakes.
Nope.
I was there for the 2-to-1. I was there for the 2-for-1, the 2-for-1 drink special.
Yes.
So Kush says it was Hurricane Chris, a rapper. So
Hurricane Chris. Thank you for the Halle Berry song.
yes. All right. So I'll go first on this one. I know that one that really comes to. So Ric Flair loves his children. That is for sure. But some of his children, and we're just going to use one for instance, is not as good as the other two. Reed had potential, and Charlotte, obviously, I mean, she's a 14-time women's world champion in WWE. And then there's David Flair, who looked like the saddest, mopiest guy that was ever created. I don't think I've ever seen him smile. And Ric Flair purposely forced WCW executives and their bookers to put a push on David Flair, to the point where they put the U.S. title on him. A title that was once held by Tully Blanchard, Magnum TA, Dusty Rhodes, Just
Bret
to
Hart.
name a few. Yeah, just to name a few. And he went ahead and forced them to put that on his son. And that kid couldn't wrestle out of a wet paper bag if his life depended on it. Canada Dry, your thoughts on David Flair?
Now, I would have liked to see David Flair do the proper training and become a real professional wrestler.
Yeah.
He tried.
I enjoyed the David Flair character, actually.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him with Tori Wilson, and I thought it was good. It's just like the matches weren't good.
Yeah.
He was getting wins over guys who he shouldn't have been beating. But if David Flair would have went the proper route, kind of like David Arquette, and went through everything and became a real wrestler, I would have been all over David Flair as a fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Expert, your thoughts?
Well, in fairness to David Flair, he did try after WCW went under. He was in OVW for a little while.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you remember when the Undertaker, the American Badass version of Undertaker, went down to beat up David Flair at OVW whenever he was feuding with Ric. But David Flair was not good.
No,
he just wasn't. And one thing I remember in particular on a Nitro was he came out and he had his hair all dyed like his dad. And, he was even trying to like kind of emulate his mannerisms whenever he was talking. He was just like, yeah, I'm going to win the shut up, fat boy. Like, okay.
You sound like King of the Hill there.
Damn it, Bobby.
Yeah. Nepotism just doesn't always work.
This is probably this is the best quote of the day. This is the best comment. David Flair, this is from Kush. David Flair is the Oliver to the Flair family in pro wrestling. This, for those who don't know, is a Brady Bunch reference.
Who's Oliver?
He's the kid that was on like the last 2 seasons of the show. Like,
oh, they brought it in to make the show more
yeah, like Leonardo DiCaprio on Growing Pains, where they're like all the kids are grown up. We got to bring a smart aleck kid in to spice things up. Yeah, he is the Oliver of the Flair family.
He's the Jason Todd.
Yes, exactly. Yes, there you go. Yes, exactly. Nobody likes him.
Robin, right?
Jason Todd is the first Robin of all the Robins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Canada Dry, what's one for you?
Let me think. I think one that comes to mind would probably be the plane ride from hell.
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Now, this is well documented on Dark Side of the Ring.
Yep.
He put a flight attendant in an awkward position where he pulled his pants down and started flipping around his penis like a helicopter. And she wasn't able to get out until Dustin Rhodes kind of stuck up for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God. But this was buried for years. Everyone knew about it, but it was buried.
Yeah.
Because he's Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And how many indiscretions did this guy get away with?
Oh, I mean,
because he's Ric Flair.
Yeah, you don't have enough fingers and toes to count how many times he's done this. I mean, that plane ride from hell, you're right. Everybody knew about the plane ride from hell. No one knew the actual story. And that helicoptering son of a bitch and then forcing
son of a bitch, that's a shirt.
You helicoptering son of a bitch.
And then making the flight attendant hold it while it's out is just the most inane thing I've ever heard.
Oh no, he asked her if she wanted to.
Yeah, but he forced her to touch it. I mean, that was on Dark Side.
Verify this, Jeremy.
Yeah.
He did make her touch it.
I saw a clip of her talking about it just the other day.
Yeah.
And she said something to the effect of he stood there, told me to touch it, and wouldn't leave until I touched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is a piece of crap. Effing expert, your thoughts on Ric Flair's plane ride from hell?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is very, very gross behavior. Something that I'm sure has gone on all throughout wrestling history, from many, many others as well. But it's absolutely ridiculous. It's gross. It's sickening. I'm just glad as a society we've kind of moved past acting this way or
Yeah.
accepting behavior like this, just because, well, that's just the character of ABC.
Yep.
You know, like that's not an excuse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, wasn't the guy from Impact, ECW star, what's his name?
Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy
Yeah.
Dreamer said, "Boys will be boys," and that got him canceled.
Tommy Dreamer was like, "It's just Ric Flair."
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect? It's Ric Flair. That's just who he is. You know, he took a lot of heat for that.
He took a tremendous one. He got suspended from Impact.
He did. Yeah.
Just because he said boys will be boys. Like, that's just bullshit. That's a bullshit excuse. You can't sit there and say, I mean, here's the thing. Guys think that their penis is magical. It is not. It's not. You're not
a magic
shooting
wand.
Yeah, you're
That's
not
the
shooting
women.
rainbows out of the tip. Okay. It's, so like, if you're gonna, don't send dick pics to women. Like, don't think that your penis is anything special than anybody else's. It's not. A penis is a penis. It all does is the exact same thing. So that's
And I
my
feel like it's a more the more you know sort of thing.
yeah.
Well, a lot of men kind of erroneously get the idea that women's brains are wired like ours as far as sexuality goes.
Yeah,
Whereas women see the total character and body and everything, whereas men just focus on individual parts. So it's like when men send those kind of pictures, women are like, this isn't doing anything for me. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah. Like, how do you lead off a text message on a dating site and say, hey, here's a picture of my junk. Enjoy.
I this is not to go too far on this, but I don't understand the intelligence level of men who do that.
They're idiots.
Very low.
Yeah, like come on. Well, how do you think this would go over? Unless she's asking you for that picture, do not send it.
Exactly. And if you're gonna, if she asks and you're gonna do it, do something special. Put a little bowler hat on it with a little bow
makeup,
tie.
maybe a little powder, like
yeah, just like spruce it up, like
a little smiley
celebrate.
face on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Brighten up your day a little.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Advertisers, please.
Yeah, backstage.com, do not drop us. Nama Burns says it was crazy because Dustin was one of the most inebriated on the fight, and he even had the moral instinct to stop Rick. I mean, that's true. That shows a lot of fortitude by Dustin Rhodes to try to make this.
Yeah, Dustin wasn't at his best back then.
Yeah. I mean, you got
the character he has now.
Yeah, this is the reason why they limit drinks on airplanes. Yeah. This is the reason why, is because of the plane ride from hell.
Oh, that was another thing, is everyone was just freaking balls to the wall drunk. Everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, man. All right, Mr. Expert, what is another one of yours?
So I was a regular listener of the Howard Stern show. Back, especially in his early serious days, that was like the only place you could find like uncensored talk about things back in those days. And I distinctly remember an episode where Chris Kanyon came on, and this was shortly after he'd been released by the WWE. And Kanyon had kind of become a friend of the Howard Stern there to kind of say a bet that he had sporting event or something like that, but he got into the issue of being let go by WWE and insinuating that it was because he might be gay.
Yeah.
And Ric Flair, for whatever reason, called into the show to argue with Kanyon and try to bury him on the air and tell him that he's crazy for thinking that.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, why? Like, why did you take time out of your day to call in and try to bury the guy on the air like that? You're not Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
you're not the WWE. So why would you do that? And they had a very interesting back and forth. And, Kanyon was like, well, Flair was telling him he was a bad wrestler, and that's why he got let go.
Yeah.
He was like, if I was such a bad wrestler, why did you ask me to train David Flair?
Yeah.
To which Rick retorted, no, I didn't ask you to train him. I just asked you to work out with him. Like, okay.
Now, let me just interrupt you quickly. What is the difference between the two?
There isn't.
I think what they were implying was working out, as in going to the gym with him, like a gym buddy,
Oh,
lifting
not actually
weights,
working in the ring.
spotting, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. I think that's kind of where they were going with that. But Canyon obviously was a great wrestler.
Oh
Very
yeah.
good, very good.
And I don't know whether or not he was fired for being gay. I have no idea. I kind of doubt it, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. But at the same time, for Ric Flair to take the time to call in and try to publicly bury the guy and argue with him, even made a comment about, well, your lifestyle choices don't have anything to do with this, to which Canyon cut him off and said, this isn't a choice, Rick.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just very, very gross.
Yeah. I mean, Canyon was light years ahead of where wrestling was at that point. And that is
the
that's
innovator
it.
of offense, Ken.
He was great.
Yeah.
I love
No,
Canyon.
he was one of the
Yeah.
best wrestlers of that generation, of that era.
No doubt.
And they just, like they dropped the ball. But yeah, why take the time to bury a guy makes absolutely no sense. Like that's classless. That is no class Ric Flair at his best right there. So I'm gonna go with
Let me comment on this as well. The other thing is they had him singing to the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry? And it was almost like someone came out and told Vince McMahon that he was gay.
Yeah.
And then they had Undertaker beat the holy hell out of him.
Yep.
With chair shots after chair shots.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if he was fired for that. Covered up, and Vince McMahon tells Ric Flair to call.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be out of the norm for Vince. I mean, Vince is extremely homophobic. You could tell by the way he, creates characters that are androgynous or like Bill and Chuck. I mean, that's a perfect example. So,
well, yeah, you couldn't have Vince McMahon actually calling the Stern Show because it would just look bad.
Yeah,
but he got Ric Flair to do it.
Yep, exactly. Canada Dry, what's one of yours?
My last one is a little bit sensitive.
Yeah.
So Teddy Long, and this comes from Kush, actually. He informed me of this one. So give you credit, Kush. Teddy Long wrote in his book that Ric Flair would frequently say the N-word around him or to him.
Yep.
And in the research, I saw that he frequently tried to bury the Junkyard Dog.
Yep.
And other black wrestlers. So I think that one of his sins is he's a racist.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is no doubt about it. The only thing that differentiates Ric Flair from Hulk Hogan is Hogan got it recorded. Ric Flair did not. Ric Flair kept it in the locker room as hush hush. Hulk Hogan decided to just tell the world on a voicemail that he's a racist. So, I mean, there's no room in this world for racism at all. Period. But I mean, the fact that in 2023 we're still talking about, hey, this is the first black wrestler to win this belt is insane. It's stupid. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen or heard in my entire life. Mr. Eyesiks, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said there. This is one of those issues of culture that I'm glad that we're kind of stamping out now.
Yeah.
2023. But it was an unfortunate reality of Ric Flair's generation. And we've heard a lot of stories of this over the years. I mean, look at what Coco Beware did to that particular mask guy who allegedly made a comment to him and he shot on him and threw him on his head.
Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's on YouTube. You can find it. Coco Beware had a match with some guy. I think he was wearing a mask, if I remember correctly. This is prior to WWF. And I guess the guy had made some kind of racist comments to Coco Beware. And Coco Beware in the ring beat the shit out of him.
Yep.
Completely shot on him, threw him out onto his head. I mean, just completely destroyed the guy. You can find it. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out. That sounds entertaining as hell.
We'll put links in the show notes for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coco Beware. kicks ass.
This was just an unfortunate reality that unfortunately a lot of African American wrestlers had to deal with. That hopefully they don't have to deal with anymore. And Rick you in the early '90s for a period of time, and it just so someone like that was in charge. So what could you say? So if you said something like that to you, what are you going to do? Speak up and get fired because he's the booker?
Exactly.
It's a terrible situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I know for me, the last one I can think of is, Ric Flair just, money issues and Ric Flair go hand in hand. I mean, between not paying taxes, unpaid loans, this and that. He signed a 2-year commitment to wrestle at Ring of Honor, and Kerry Silkin, at that time was the owner of, before he sold it to Sinclair, was the owner of Ring of Honor, and he took millions of dollars from Kerry Silkin and never showed. He no-showed every match, and it's the most ridiculous thing in the world that Ring of Honor was reaching out to him when he needed money, and then he no-shows an event. Like, that is the most classless shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
Ric Flair said, listen, if you send it to me now,
yeah,
I will promise you I will be there. I'll be there for this date.
Yep.
Don't worry. I got you.
Yeah.
Woo!
Where is he? Not here. Woo.
His entrance music plays. It's like
Kendra, what do you think about the Ring of Honor?
Oh man, this is so despicable. Like you are you're on many people's Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Many people's, not mine.
Yeah.
But many people's. And for you to abuse the power and the fame that you had to earn a few extra bucks and to not fulfill your obligations.
Yeah.
You're pretty much stealing. Like, you're no better than a common criminal when you do shit like that.
Pretty much. That hit the nail right on the head. Mr. Expert, your thoughts?
His YouTube channel of his podcast he does with Conrad, and he was at a particular instance, and his story of the reason why he walked out of Ring of Honor was that he claimed they were trying to coax him into going out and cutting promos about how this is real wrestling and it's better than WWE and all this and that. And he said that was the reason why he walked out, which I can understand to an extent, but why did you keep the money?
Yeah.
No, I don't understand that at all. You're being paid to promote their product.
Well, yeah, but he knows where his bread is buttered, though. He knows he's going to get more money from Vince in the long run. But yeah, I mean, it's you should give the money back. You shouldn't just walk out and just keep the money.
Yeah.
I think that's a load of crap, because that's like saying you're in a commercial for a certain product and you're like, well, I'm not going to do this commercial, but I'm keeping your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally
or
ridiculous.
Even going that further than that and saying, I hate Diet Coke. Even though you're getting paid for Diet Coke, you're like, this stuff tastes like piss. I don't like it.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Mr. Eyesiks, do you have another one?
Yes, I have one more left. And this is a very recent one.
Yeah.
That I'm sure a lot of people are going to remember. And you could probably put this entire event on here, but this is one particular instance.
Yeah.
Ric Flair's last match.
Yeah.
So when he had his last match, in the middle of it, he had a spot where he faked having a heart attack.
Yep.
No,
he's an old man. He had his family out there on the front row.
Yeah.
And pretended to have a heart attack without anybody knowing except the people involved in the match.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. What a piece of shit.
Now, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but back on Nitro, many, many years ago, they did an angle where Ric Flair had a heart attack in the ring. So he was basically hearkening back to that and said that because he was dehydrated going into the match, he knew he was going to need an additional rest spot.
Yeah.
So he faked a damn heart attack to get an extended rest in the match.
Yeah.
How absurd and how uncaring for your family.
Yeah, exactly. I have a friend, Helena. She was at that match, and we talked about the fake heart attack. And she was like, it didn't make any sense. Like, everybody was horrified. And I'm like, yeah, everybody should have been horrified. Absolutely.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
How
Canada
old is
Dry.
Flair?
He was in his 70s.
Isn't
Is
he
that
like
a-
72 or something
Yeah.
like that? 71?
Yeah, like, you know, doing this in the 1997.
Yeah.
No, that's even a little iffy there. But it was to compete with the Attitude Era. So yeah, I understand it a bit.
Yeah.
Then bring out Bret Hart, his comment, "You're dropping her like flies around here." That's all but yeah, like for a 70-year-old dude who just had a heart attack,
Yeah.
to fake another heart attack in a match,
Yep.
that is messed up.
Yep.
And apparently
Exactly.
Conrad and Jeff Jarrett both vehemently tried to talk him out of this,
Yeah.
and he was adamant that he had to do it.
Yeah. God, what a class act. Ric Flair, you're a class act. Guys, that is it. Before we start getting into the final stretch, Canada Dry, you have anything that you want to add?
We have we're going to be taping the Magic of Wrestling tonight.
Yeah.
And we have a wrestling ministry, a church that does wrestling, and we're going to be recording that tonight. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Got in on it because I was like, I have to do this. I'm an ex-pastor. I got to be part of this.
Heck yeah.
I wedged myself in there.
I tagged in
Be getting
Canada
up at
Dry.
5
I
in the
wanna
morning
get
to
this
do this,
episode.
right, Mr. Eyesiks?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
You're going to be doing this at 5 in the morning.
No. I I am not on this particular episode.
Oh, you're not. So it's just me and Liam then.
Yeah, I tagged you in. You're taking my spot.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm getting up at 1:30 a.m. tonight
Man.
and on this episode.
Yeah, I couldn't do that and drive into the office like 4 hours later.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go to bed early, have a little nap, wake up at 1:30, do the
Yeah.
show, go to bed.
All right. So, guys, if you want to join us on social media, there's two ways you can go about doing it. You can go to youtube.com/effing wrestling, or you can go to our brand new spanking website, effingwrestling.com. If you go to YouTube, click like and subscribe and share. Tell the world how much you love our podcast.
Of course,
and our ministry.
all our links are in the description right below here. So
Yeah.
check out the Effing
Right
Galaxy.
below.
Join our AFW prediction
Yep.
league. We're number one.
Prediction League Monthly, number
Prediction
one.
League Monthly.
Number one.
Number one.
Number
With
one.
a bullet. If you like t-shirts, and I know that you do, we have the All Effin' Wrestling shirts. That's right, the All Effin' Wrestling shirt, the Kool-Aid shirt. We have the Effin' Fingers, which is worn by, of course, one of our favorite ladies. That's right, Natalia Markova. She makes every shirt look really good. We got the Effin' Kool-Aid wrestling shirt. We got it all. You go to prowrestlingtees.com/effing wrestling. Now, if you are an old school fan, and I know that you are, you want to go ahead and support Adrian Adonis. He's going to have an episode on the dark side of
That's
wrestling.
not confirmed yet. That's
Not confirmed, but
Probably
we're
gonna happen, but it's not confirmed.
we're keeping our fingers crossed because we want to keep this guy's legacy alive. There's a book called Flowers for Adrian from John Ellum, who is one of our guests. If you want to support Adrian Adonis and show the world how much you loved what a man committed to doing for the art of wrestling, go to prowrestlingtees.com/Adrian Adonis, where you can get this amazing Adrian Adonis shirt. You can get a multitude of shirts. Now, with all that being said, on behalf of Canada Dry and the effing expert, Mr. Eyesiks, I am the JFB.
And remember to just keep fighting.
Woo! Hit it! Woo!
This has been an effing worldwide media production. You can find us on all social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and others.
head over to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/effin wrestling. And while you're there, click like and subscribe. Want some swag? Head to our store at prowrestlingtees.com/effin wrestling. You can find all these links and much more at our awesome website, effinwrestling.com. As the JFB always says, you can book it.
Woo!